All right, Malaysia losses an estimated 5 to 6 billion ringgit annually to procurement leakages and weak financial controls, according to Auditor General reports. At the same time, global AI adoption in auditing is accelerating. PwC predicts AI-driven risk analytics could cut fraud losses by up to 40% within 5 years. Malaysia has launched frameworks like AI Governance for Education Age and also Malaysia National AI Office (NAIO, but real-world deployment remains limited. Meanwhile, South Africa is emerging as a hub for AI innovation in compliance and predictive risk. So to unpack on this matter today, we have with us in the studio Claude Chatty, the CEO and also founder of IAT, the world developer of the world's first predictive risk AI. How are you? Good morning.
Good morning, and thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for coming all the way here, being in the studio this morning. But to start, we want to compare on the AI landscape between Malaysia and also South Africa. We see that Malaysia has a strong policy frameworks, but very lack on the deployment. So while South Africa, we see that they're gaining, very large when it comes to traction, when it comes to predictive risk AI. So how could you compare the two ecosystems between Malaysia and also South Africa? And where do you see the biggest gaps right now?
Yep. Thank you so much. So my fundamental belief is that there's big parties out there that are busy developing the infrastructure for AI usage and adoption. The one key differentiator that I've noticed in my travels thus far is that from a Malaysia perspective, I think that we're still having very much the infrastructure and governance conversations, which are extremely important. But the adoption conversation is the one that needs to be on the table. So as part of my my trip and my meeting with various stakeholders, including people from government as well as educational institutions, my message has been very clear. I believe that the tracks have been built. Let's ride it. And from a South African perspective, I think we've been quick to get onto that track, onto that highway. And Malaysia has definitely got the capability and the skills. Now we just need to adopt faster. So adoption has been a bit of a challenge from what I've seen.
And before we start this conversation, we had this, you mentioned about the Audrey, the first world AI leader by IAT itself. So can you talk more about that, and your company specifically focuses on the predictive risk AI. So what makes it different from the traditional risk analytics? And at the same time, how do you help Malaysia strengthen governance and also reduce financial leakage at the same time in governance?
Fantastic. So, firstly, I'm not an auditor by profession, but I've interacted with auditors, and I have lots of friends and family that have been auditors. But being in business, the one bugbear for me has been that auditing has always been something reactive. You get an audit report after maybe some time after financial year end, and you're expected to mitigate issues based on that report. So what fundamentally changes with Audrey and AI? We do reporting, analysis, and predictive risk assessments in the now. For now, so that we can deal with issues proactively. So when you speak about revenue leakage, 5 to 6 billion ringgits, we've had the privilege of dealing with the Ministry of Finance and other institutions, and we've shown them how through proactive risk assessments, we can pick up risks as and when they occur. So that enables government organizations to deal with these matters as and when they occur, rather than report on them as a loss. So I think that's a big fundamental change. The other big change is, with the advent of new technologies such as AI, machine learning, this enables you to use large data sets to inform better decision making. The audit profession, once again, has had this set of rules and methodologies that's probably been around for like 50 years. But guess what? The world has changed fundamentally in the last 50 years. We can do so much more. So what we've done is we've said, okay, instead of using sample data, which is what auditors use, they use sets of sample data as part of their fieldwork and testing to test against the mitigations and the risks. What happens if we use technology to look at all the data available? Not only will we be able to be more accurate, but also we will probably, with technology, we can get things done that much faster. So the two big things that Audrey does is, one, it makes sure that you look at your books and your risk continuously for insight, and also predictively for foresight. So you can see things potentially before they can happen. And the second thing is, we look at all the available data. So we're not being Big Brother or the police, but what we are trying to do is build a more transparent and more productive organization and world that we live in. Yeah.
But before we go deep further on the mitigation strategies, what are the stats and data based on reports on the procurement leakages and also weak financial controls that you see based on the reports?
Look, I mean, we've obviously done this under strict guidance and conditions. But what I can tell you is I can speak about themes. So some of the themes that we've picked up and shared with the ministry revolves around how we could do things faster, how we can leverage our Malaysian people more as part of our supply chain. And of course, how we can ensure that there's better productivity, meaning every ringgit spent is a ringgit well spent, and ideally better spent within the country. So those were three big things that I think that I can call out specifically on the show without being hurled before the coals.
But we see that recent Prime Minister Anwar's visit to Africa, which signals deeper tech and also trade ties. So in your opinion, what immediate opportunities that you see for Malaysia and also South Africa AI partnerships arising from this diplomatic momentum? Could this diplomatic momentum lead to a Malaysia-Africa AI corridor, and especially when Malaysia has an ambitious national goal of becoming AI nation by 2030 and also a regional AI hub in Southeast Asia?
So firstly, I think I can speak on behalf of all my countrymen in that we've got a deep and decorated history with the Malaysian people. As a South African, we're very proud of the ties we have with Malaysia. I learned that our first ballot papers were printed in Malaysia. That's post-apartheid. Wow. So and our policies have been modeled on many of Malaysia's successful policies. From an AI perspective, and specifically with Audrey, our Audit Negara or Auditor General and the Malaysian Auditor General, I think through this process, having dealt with both, we're able to connect both. But more so, from a technology and knowledge transfer perspective, we signed a collaborative agreement with MITE, your government agency, earlier this year. And part of that entails a skills transfer and knowledge transfer. Not only that, we're going to the National AI Organization a bit later today to also confirm our commitment to train Malaysian people. In fact, we're taking our first 2 students along to the NAIO to show them that, well, this is more than just a product push. This is a partnership push where we've been able to harness and make use of the available technologies. We have not built the infrastructure, as I mentioned. We are driving on that highway at breakneck speed. And I think we want to take our Malaysian people and young Malaysians on that path with us. And so this is the start of that journey. Yeah.
Since you've highlighted on the talent development, what concrete steps that would you take to actually build Malaysia AI capability rather than just exporting technology? Exactly.
So, I mean, it's a multi-pronged approach. So, firstly, with the partnership with MITE, our agreement at a very high level is absolutely predicated upon setting up offices here and setting up a skills development center of sorts. So we're meeting with MITE tomorrow to firm that relationship up. So we're busy setting that up. So that means that for now, yes, we're going to have our South African AI engineers in country for the shortest time, but through our partnership agreement also with a Malaysian company called PCG, we're doing a train-the-trainer exercise. So they're going to be helping us train future AI engineers and future technologists to drive this. You see, my mantra, and yesterday we were privileged to be at the Serum International Conference, and my mantra to everybody was around, look, let us not get too immersed in the architecture of the technology, but let's rather immerse ourselves on how this technology can be used now for good, for sustainability, and to increase productivity. There's people that are naysayers around AI. Is AI going to take over our jobs? Is it going to be the age of the machines? But what I honestly believe is that it is the age of the human and machine collaboration, and the AI that we are using now, well, it's generative AI, and we're moving to agentic and hopefully multi-agentic AI, which I could talk to you about for a very long time. But that's all about elevating us as human beings. It's about elevating a professional to augment what you do and make sure that it makes you a better human and a better professional specifically. So it's about accelerating that to our youth and making sure that let us not get too involved in the back end stuff. Let's see how we can use this now for business, for education, for healthcare, and for our economy. Yeah.
But that's the thing about AI. The dynamic of AI landscape is super complex, if I must say.
Yes.
So when it comes to AI compliance and also auditing, each involves a very super high stakes. So how do you ensure principles like perhaps human oversight, also fairness and transparency that is embedded in your solutions, perhaps in
Yes.
Audrey?
I mean, look, fundamentally, we're an audit platform. So by nature, the designers and the back end have been designed by auditors. So governance is extremely important. Now, whilst I think kind of standards authorities and the governments are regulating, what's very important, I believe, is self-regulation. So with AI, you build guardrails around what AI can't do. But also, I think it's important to adhere to national and international laws about where to draw the line. So as auditors, what we do is that we also have built-in structures within our AI. For example, traceability audits. So there's something that's called AI hallucination. So as you, we were speaking to people yesterday, for example. If you use 5 different AI and GPT platforms, for example, they may give you 5 different responses.
Right.
But where Audrey comes in play is that our traceability audits will tell you if someone said A, B, and C about Nabila or Claude, we can trace that. We can trace that to the source because I think ultimately, and this is where I'm a very strong proponent, AI does not replace the human being. The AI augments the human being. The human being still needs to be empowered to make the final decision, as is the AI auditor. It is not an auditor, it's an audit and assurance assistant. An auditor still needs to sign it off. An auditor still needs to verify that. And I think this is the happy place when I speak about human and machine collaboration, is that the human being still holds the strategic insight. We are the real intelligence. And the artificial intelligence, we allow that to do the heavy lifting, the hard work, so that we can do the smart work, which is the thinking, the decision-making, the verification, and to clear all the blurry spots.
So Audrey is accessible to everyone?
Obviously, it's a subscription-based model, but it is accessible to everyone. So the way we've built it is that I've been a strong proponent of the underdog. This is how this was built. And it was built on a dream that currently there are a few big consulting and audit houses. I think we know the big 4, the big 5. And the dream started with was, what if we made a 10-man or a 5-man audit shop behave like a 100-man audit shop and be able to execute like a 100-man audit shop, to play with the big boys and to compete with the big boys? And how could we use technology to do that? And so through this iterative kind of process, we realized, hang on, technology can help us. So it can help a small business, a micro business, all the way to a multinational business, depending on the application and depending on the needs. So very cool. One very other cool thing, and this is not just with Audrey, with other technologies as well, is the rise of agentic AI, where, for example, we are now able to, if you're a subject matter expert, we give you a persona, or some other people call it a co-pilot. That co-pilot, once you open your system and start interacting, it actually starts learning how you do things. So that one day, if you may change jobs, if you decide to retire, or for whatever reason, the AI co-pilot or agent continues to work. So that's just the power of technology. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Claude. There was the insights from Claude where it comes to AI deployment, because it's not just about it's a governance tool that can actually save billions and also restore public trust and create new economic bridges between regions. And today's conversation shows that how important AI is when it comes to avoiding leakages in procurement. So thank you again, Claude and Sarah. Claude, for sharing your insights, and we look forward to seeing these ideas translate into real-world impact, perhaps in the future. But for now, we have to go for a short break. We'll be right back.
Thank you.